Welcome back to another episode of Didi Got a Podcast. I'm your host, Didi. I appreciate you all for tuning in. Please hit the like button. Let me say that first. Please hit the like button. That goes a long way. We're pushing the video into the algorithm, as many of you all already know. No, I'm not going to change the time. Super excited today. In today's episode, obviously from the thumbnail and the title, you all already have an idea of what we're going to discuss. Candace Owens dropped a surprise episode yesterday. She typically don't post on Fridays, and she shared some emergency photos. As you all know, I haven't really covered the Charlie Kirk case over the past month and a half, 2 months. And I told you all going forward, I would only cover it when major news came forth. And I do consider this to be major. We're also going to be discussing Tucker Carlson, who now seems to be saying, and by seeing, like, now, what I mean by now is, I guess for the last few weeks, he's been saying this just selectively on certain platforms, that he feels certain things about what truly happened to Charlie, which are not things I've been hearing him saying previously. Exactly. And so we're going to react to a couple of clips of him talking about it, and I'm going to give my thoughts on that as well. Let me start off this episode by saying something I don't say often, and that is shout out to everyone who has dedicated a great chunk of their life and their time, especially away from their family, investigating this Charlie Kirk psyop. And by psyop, it does not matter really where you fall at as to what happened to him. I do believe that it's a psyop nonetheless. All right. Shout out to everybody, man, because it's not easy. It's a lot of work that go into it, and I don't on the researcher side of things, I totally respect people. And if you can afford to hire researchers and you have a team that's working for you, shout out to them, because again, it's not the easiest thing to be doing. Let me start off by saying as well, to my Patreon members, I am extremely proud to announce that the long anticipated, long awaited for, and by long awaited for, I mean the past 3 or 4 years, I've been teasing and hinting and alluding to and referencing a series that I wanted to start, and I was able to get part 1 of my Kobe Bryant Sacrifice Chronicles out, right? The part 1 dropped yesterday exclusively on Patreon. I am extremely proud of that. I am more proud to work on this video or on that series, more so than my Martin Luther King, Michael Jackson, Clive Davis, Trayvon Martin, and the list, whatever video you may have come across, Erika Kirk, Charlie Kirk, whatever you may have come across, I am the most proud to put that video out so far to officially launch that series because of the implications. It is one of the most underestimated impacts, one of the most underestimated psyops because of its impact on not just America, but the world. And yes, I do mean that. And I do believe that I'll be able to prove that in that series. I do believe that it'll be at least an 8 or 9 part series. And like I just said, part 1 is just under an hour long. All right. Link in the description. Link to the Patreon is in the description. Another way to support the work outside of Patreon is also the merch store, right? That can also be found in the description if you are interested. I do want you all to let me know what this mic sounds like, right? I listened to a couple of my videos back. Obviously, I've changed my setup just a little bit. So now the microphone is not off camera. It's right here in my face. And so I do believe that I may have to adjust the gain. It's not a bad microphone at all. But I do believe because I'm talking closer, let me do this. How does that sound? Does that sound better to anybody? Okay, somebody said it already sounds great. What's up, everybody? Let me know if that made a difference or if I need to put it back. Okay, y'all said it sounds fine. Okay, I'm not going to waste too much of your time. Let me reference this before we play the first Candace clip. For those of you that don't know, here's a major Tyler Robinson announcement. Baron Coleman, I know, is one of the bigger names in the investigation of Charlie Kirk and what happened to him. And he just happens to be the only attorney that I'm aware of, as far as like the main ones of us that's been covering this. And he's the only attorney that I'm aware of. There may be another one, so forgive me, but he is the main one that I know about that is an attorney. And so he may have covered this already because he's an attorney, and this is typically what attorneys are concerned with. But apparently the death penalty, as of yesterday, I saw a clip on Law and Crime Trials, and it was about an hour long. I watched just a little bit of it, but apparently the judge has ruled that the death penalty is still on the table. All right, so it's still on the table, and like myself included, I don't rule out that Tyler Robinson played some role, but it's much like um, Lee Harvey Oswald, whatever his name is, that was framed, that we believe to be framed many years ago. I believe he played some role, but I don't believe that he was the one to pull the trigger to take out Charlie. All right. Um, and so yeah, so there's that. And I also want to state that apparently, from my understanding, what I'm hearing is that Tyler Robinson's defense team is not the best. They have not performed the best, which I had stated that months ago, that I felt that that may be the case. I don't know if that's exactly accurate. You all let me know if you've heard anything different, but my understanding is that they have not been the best at representing Tyler, which has led a lot of people to believe that he will be found guilty. All right. And so, but that's a topic for another day. I wanted to just sort of give the overview of the overarching takeaway from what I've heard with that. If you want me to get more granular into the trial and sort of the hearings, just let me know. They are very boring, very, very boring. Like the hour-long video with the judge and the attorneys for the hearing that they just had yesterday, apparently, was very, very hard to sit through. Right? There's a lot of pauses. There's a lot of uh, legal jargon that most of us regular people do not fully understand. So um, there's that. And so, yeah, man, I wanted to give the shout out though to the people who have been covering this case, because of course I've probably made myself a bad guy to some people, because I still say that I believe that there are some actors, some bad faith actors that are a part of these investigations. I just don't fully know who just yet, right? Much like how I believe there are YouTube channels that have been created by those trying to push the narrative that the Fed slop that we've been told and that we've been fed, pun intended. I believe there are YouTube channels that have been created by these people to try to convince you not to trust your own common sense. And I believe that there may be other people who are front facing, a part of the investigation, who could be bad faith actors. There's a reason why I said that. It's gonna come. It should come up later in today's live. So with that, man, I'm gonna go ahead and let's go ahead and hop into some photos. Those of you, I'm assuming if you're joining this live, you already know what I'm about to talk about. You've probably already seen Candace's information, but apparently Candace Owens shared some things and some photos that she's been sitting on. And so I'm going to just go through these 7 photos and just talk about my thoughts. All right. So this was in the back seat. This appears to be some sort of, obviously there's a hanger there. There's some sort of, I don't know, bag, maybe some sort of plastic something. And this may be the material that his suit or his shirt was actually hanging inside of, right? So I thought that was interesting. And obviously, as we can see here, there is red liquid, dried red liquid all over it. Some speculated that this may have been used to dry off their hands, maybe. And as we can see here, the top right corner, there seems to be some dry red liquid on the seat as well. So that is that. Let me move to photo 2. I'm just going to show them to you, then we can collectively discuss some of these things. Once again, you see the dry red liquid in the seats. All right. There's that. And then let me move this banner Uh, so we can sort of get a full view. In the bottom of the screen, right next to the seat that we're looking at, apparently there are some fragments and what many believe to be, and Candace is stating, are glass pieces of glass on the bottom of on the floorboard of this Wagoneer. And we're going to get into, because apparently Candace has been sitting with this information for an extended period of time. She says that she's been playing chess, since there are, very powerful, big players who are on the other side trying to uh protect this information and prevent this information from getting out. This is what Candace has said. And so once again, I'm going to just show the photos and I'm going to give you my thoughts on what I believe could be going on. And one of the things is this image here. This is one of the things that Candace shared, which I do believe these photos are, I mean, they're groundbreaking because it gives us, much like the camera view from behind Charlie, which we didn't get to see until months later, but we're getting to see these things. And there was much discussion yesterday as to what this is. And I am curious what you all have to say about this image here. I personally, some people said that they may think that it's a piece of a shirt. No, I definitely do not believe that. This looks like, to me, this appears to be obviously some sort of dried red liquid on this material. And it looks like some sort of piece of cardboard, or it looks like it could be a piece of whatever this is, right? It looks like it could be a piece of whatever this is. So I don't know. It looks like a tortilla. No. A tortilla? No. I mean, it's the same color, but it looks like whatever it is, it was burned. And I believe this may have been said yesterday on Candace's show. It looks like whatever it is, it was burned, which would beg the question, why would something be burned? But I have a bigger question. As a matter of fact, I don't have to wait until I show all 7 photos. I may have missed this, and this is what I'll go through with you all. Who is sending Candace these photos? Do we know that? Like, has she shared this information or has she not shared this information? And maybe this is something I missed. Before we get into what these things are in the photo, let's first just address that, because again, I know Candace says she's playing chess, not checkers, and she's being super strategic for very obvious reasons. Who is giving Candace these photos? Because this is part of the reason why I'm wondering this. Was it people that were a part of the medical team or the law enforcement team after the fact that is giving Candace this, or has she not shared this information? Because whoever is, I'm a bit confused. Who, I know Candace knew Charlie, and obviously it's Candace freaking Owens. So I'm not questioning that she would know people, but how are they getting this information though? Like, that's what I'm saying. Who's sharing this? I'm not saying that um every single person at Turning Point USA is complicit, as we're about to discuss Mikey McCoy in just a moment. I'm not stating that. But I am stating that more people was complicit on as of September the 10th or 11th compared to September the 9th and before. So in other words, I believe some people didn't know exactly what Maeve was going to transpire fully. But after everything transpired, they still haven't come forth. And newsflash, I'm not so sure Mikey McCoy is one of those people, by the way. But again, we're about to discuss him in just a moment. Who's sending her these photos? Do we know that? I know you all are discussing what the image is. I promise you we will get to that. I need someone because I know a lot of you all binge her content, and I haven't watched. I've missed several Candace's episodes over the past few weeks. So I just need to know if she has shared who's giving her these photos, because I would imagine that if Candace has not said who's giving her these photos for obvious reasons to protect them, then the people who are over there at Turning Point USA will probably be able to put two and two together who's doing it. Okay, y'all are saying she hasn't told. Okay, she hasn't said. Does anybody have y'all wondered about that? Because I would understand why she wouldn't say, but um, I don't know. I don't know. You know, I don't know. Um, Somebody says, who cares who's sending? What? I mean, that kind of matters. I'm not saying more so for Candace. I'm saying it matters so we can rule out that person, because maybe one of the people, and I'm not saying Candace has to share who told her. I'm just saying from our perspective on the outside looking in, I would like to know, I would like to at least speculate who could be sending these photos to her so that we can potentially rule out this person, or rule this person as an ally, right? Because as of right now, I just don't know. So that's photo number 3. And again, that looks like some sort of paper, some sort of paper that was burned, which obviously, once again, begs the question, what would have been getting burned in the car? Because I would like to think that this isn't something from before, because it has the red liquid on it, right? People like, oh, shoot, I missed it. Somebody said, why does it matter who's sending the photos? What matters is that the truth is getting out. Oh boy. I try not to hurt people's feelings, but I see that some people want the truth so bad that in the process of getting to the truth, some of you all don't even realize when something goes completely over your head, when it's when certain details matter along the way. You like, I don't care, just give me what I want. I don't care how we get it. But how we get it is true, because we got to understand who to trust along the way within this investigation. Right? That makes sense. If you've never done investigations or research on these sort of deals, then I would understand why you just think, I'll just watch your episode, and if you give me something that nobody else is giving me, that's all that matters. But there are certain questions that need to be asked as well. And if you're not willing to ask those questions because it's going to make other people uncomfortable, then you have the wrong channel. I would like to know. And again, if Candace hasn't shared it, all right, fine, I'll stop asking. I just didn't know if she has shared it and I just missed it, so that I can then reassess how I see these photos, right? So, for example, if Candace has shared that Frank Turek, or if she had shared that the camera guy, right, or that one of the security guards, you know what I'm saying? Like, if she had shared that information, then I would, it could potentially change how I feel about these photos, right? Because maybe that person may have an agenda. You know, you never know. So it's important to at the very least ask who sent the photos. But if we don't know that yet, it's fine. But to pretend that that's not important is very disingenuous or ignorant. So okay, so that, okay. All right, and this is a close up. And shout out to Candace for sharing the photos. Um, that's very, very interesting, bro. It also makes me wonder. I wonder if anybody's ever said this. I wonder if this had something written on it, right? Does that make sense? I wonder if something was previously written on this that wasn't supposed to be seen. Maybe it was one of the things that the security guys were handing to one another and they burned it in the SUV. You know what I'm saying? That's something I'm wondering too. Maybe something was written on this that would have implicated uh certain people. So the best way to do it is to just burn it. Because I don't think this is part of Charlie's shirt, which I know that's a question that people were asking. All right. All right. And so the image here of the blue and black bag, small pouch bag at the very back. So that apparently we have been able to figure out what that is. Someone says people are afraid to come forward. If I had info, Didi, and I asked you not to share it because one life is on the line, if they find out you are the one giving the info, I'm not sure if I fully understand what you're asking me. But if you're asking if someone was to give me information on the Turning Point USA side, and they specifically trusted me not to expose or reveal their identity, of course I would never do that in a million years, of course. And I don't doubt that that's probably what's happening with Candace. But again, just so y'all understand, I didn't know if she had shared this information because I haven't watched the majority of her episodes over the past month and a half or so, you know? So it's very likely that I may have missed this. And I know she just shared these photos yesterday, but she had already originally shared photos in the past from the inside of the SUV. And so I don't know if I just may have missed it. You know what I mean? That's all. Um, but yeah, so this image here, uh, this image here is apparently what this is, right? It's the Santa Medical back. And let me refresh my memory on what this means, what this is exactly. All righty, let's see. What is Santa Medical? A Santa medical bag generally refers to the portable carrying case or storage pouch that comes with health monitoring and therapy devices manufactured by Santa Medical. The company is known for home health equipment such as fingertip pulse oximeters, blood pressure monitors, depending on which device you purchase. The bag usually falls into one or two categories: device carrying case, small, durable, semi EVA, and a medical kit bag, larger soft shell nylon bags that hold more comprehensive equipment setups such as an aneroid sphygmomanometer, which essentially is a blood pressure cuff, and a Rappaport stethoscope. Depending on your device, these bags are included to keep your at-home medical equipment dust-free, organized, and easily transportable for on the go. I don't reading that. I don't know if I don't know if I got to treat wounds. It's a blood oxygen monitor considered essential first aid equipment. Blood pressure machine. Hmm. Yeah, but so when I hear medical kit, does that automatically mean to be able to treat someone that's been let me let's do this together. I'll look it up together. Let's do this together. Because some people can trick you with just using the language medical kit, and you're just going to assume, some of us will just assume that that means, oh, they treated Charlie. But there are different types of medical kits, and what I just read didn't necessarily give me treating a person that's just been shot. Let's see, but it can be. Let's see. Can Santa medical equipment be used to treat you see the word there, wounds? No. Santa medical equipment cannot be used to treat or physically repair wound pow wounds. The consumer grade and medical equipment manufactured by Santa Medical, such as pulse oximeters, blood pressure monitors, and TENS units, are designed purely for monitoring and therapeutic pain relief. They do not possess the capabilities required to stop bleeding, remove debris, or repair trauma. So just simply because it's in the car does not mean that it had to have been used. That's not what I'm insinuating. But I think some people came to the conclusion that that's what it was used for, to somehow try to attempt and save Charlie. But that's not what this state here. And that's not what I was getting when I was just reading before. Right? Such as a hemorrhage control devices, tactical first aid. I didn't hear anything first aid when I was reading it. A medical faculty care. That would make more sense. But this is a Santa medical equipment. But again, maybe that's not even a big deal anyways, because it probably didn't even get used that day. I don't know. But this is what it looks like. Okay. So there's that. I believe there's one more photo, and this is the big one. So this is the glass pieces in the bottom of the SUV. Now, I have several questions, and once again, I don't doubt that the number one investigator in all of this, Candace Owens, is being very strategic. But I don't think she has revealed as of yet when she got these photos, and she may never reveal that for obvious reasons. So we're just left to speculate. I wonder, so I'll just say I wonder how long she's had this, because if Candace had these photos for, let's just say, since the beginning of the year, or since, maybe even October, November, I don't know when she got them. Again, we're only left to speculate. Unless she did say yesterday, you all let me know. I wonder if number one, how long she's had these photos. Number two, I wonder how long, which the answer to the first question is going to play a huge role in this second answer, or the answer to this second question. I wonder how long she speculated that Charlie was potentially taken out by the road mic, which some people are still skeptical about. Here's why I'm asking this question, though, because, and some of you may already have thought about this. If Charlie's road mic was not shattered that day, right, and it didn't explode, and this theory, there's no merit to it, then that means that they would have saved it, and they probably would have had it on display, just like they had the tent on display, and selling t-shirts, right? The same type of t-shirt he was wearing that day. But they didn't. There's no road mic that was on display that day. So the biggest question, obviously, that everybody's been asking is, where's the road mic? Number one, so we can get the audio from it, because we don't even need the mic for it. My understanding is that all we need is the transmitter. But again, it's a fair question to ask. Maybe Candace is playing 4D chess. I believe that's what they call it. Because if I had these photos, the moment I see this, that is clearly, I shouldn't say that's clearly the microphone, but I would 100%, that would be my first theory. That's clearly the microphone shattered. What else could that be? Those itty bitty pieces? What else could that be right there? And obviously, whoever's giving Candace Owens these photos could not have been in on it. Because why would you be giving this to someone who's going to be doing an active public investigation and wasn't in on it? You see what I'm saying? So this is a major, major update for sure. No doubt about it at all. And yes, I agree with Candace and the rest of you. Why has Frank Turek, Brian Harpole, and these individuals giving interviews? Why were these details left out? Right? So with that, let's go ahead and go into our first clip from Candace's show. We're going to discuss so a little bit of what she said about Mikey McCoy, and I'll just give my thoughts on Mikey, because apparently there's a clip that was trending of Mikey that I hadn't seen. So this actually was news to me.
Of what took place in that car across multiple interviews, why nobody mentioned this. Where is Charlie's shirt? Andrew Colbert, you're the spokesperson of Turning Point USA. Where is Charlie's shirt? To the people that are working at Turning Point USA, any of this strike you was odd? Do you really think that by putting stickers on the ground that say for Charlie, you guys are for Charlie? We have t-shirts that says for Charlie. Really? You're for Charlie? I wonder about that. I wonder about so many people at that organization. And I have to say that the response to this will give me the answer. It will furnish the answer, because you can only play stupid and make excuses for so long before you are simply siding with plain evil, satanic evil, to be clear. Well, what of Mikey McCoy? Here, I'll tell you my perspective of Mikey McCoy. I know there's a clip going around, and I told you guys from the very beginning that one of the things I was told about Mikey in the hospital was that they were lying. If you go back and watch our episodes, I said really early on that them saying that Mikey was amazing, Erika the first to say it at the podium, he was amazing, he snapped into action, that was patently untrue. Mikey was the most emotionally impacted. He did not have it together, and a clip went around showing Mikey, I don't know if you guys can pull it, of him when they were carrying Charlie's casket out of the hospital. And you catch in the background, Mikey looks like he's physically sick. This clip, I don't know when it came out. It recently went viral, but I've been telling you the whole time. That Mikey that was in the background, that was physically sick, is what I was told from the very beginning. Mikey was impacted by this in a way that leads me to believe that Mikey did not know that Charlie was going to die on that day. Do I think Mikey knew something was going to happen with the speed that he called his wife?
Yes. Yes, clearly. And we're going to discuss this a little bit later when we get into the Tucker Carlson clip, but it baffles me. It baffles my mind when people will entertain this Tyler Robinson theory, and the only Tyler Robinson theory, this transferee kid who took out Charlie, but then ignore all the other things that we've been talking about. And what's so strange is that Mikey McCoy, Mikey McCoy, yes, Candace, I follow you. I believe that he knew something was going to happen, but we have to entertain what that actually means and what that looks like, right? Because if Mikey McCoy had an idea of what was going to happen, does that mean he betrayed Charlie? So let's actually just entertain what that could mean, right? I think that's fair. If Mikey McCoy knew that something was going to happen beforehand, what did he think was going to happen? What are the possibilities? We're going to write these down. I'm going to write down the best ideas that you all give me. What could have possibly happened outside of Charlie actually losing his life? Like, what are the other possibilities? I'm going to give you all about 10, 15 seconds. Okay, I didn't know that Lionel Nation is an attorney. Shout out to him. So I'm trying to see, like, I'm gonna put the chat on the screen real quick. If Mikey McCoy had foreknowledge that something was going to happen, but he wasn't under the impression that Charlie was going to lose his life, what are the other alternatives? A lot of you all are just joining, so you're responding to other parts of the video. So let me just throw out some things. One, the first thing that comes to mind is that maybe he thought that Charlie Kirk was going to fake something. And surprise, surprise, that's where my list ends. I don't know any other alternatives, any other possibilities that could have potentially happened that Mikey would have had foreknowledge about, that he was willing to participate in and be okay with, outside of Charlie actually losing his life. What, did he think somebody was just going to beat up Charlie? No, that doesn't make sense. So what did he think was going to happen that ended up not happening, that caused him to be so traumatic? No. If I miss your comment, even if you send in $1 super chat, a $2 super chat, I need to see it, because I want to hear what an alternative is outside of Charlie actually getting taken out that day. What did Mikey think was going to happen that caused him to become so depressed? Because obviously we have reason to believe Mikey clearly knew something was about to happen. He turned around in less than a second. He didn't run. He didn't duck. He didn't seem scared. He didn't panic. He put his phone up to his ear in less than a second and calmly walked away, sped away, while walking, though, not running, while everybody else was in complete mayhem.
Do I think that Mikey McCoy was prepared for Charlie to die that day? No.
Interesting.
I do not believe that. I don't believe that. Not with that reaction, not with what I was told. Mikey had raw emotion at the hospital. Of all of them, Mikey was the most upset, and yet they then all came out and tried to spin a tale that he just like jumped into adrenaline action and was calling the shots, and it's obviously not true. He couldn't even hold the casket. He was holding his stomach like he was going to become ill. He was ill. Mikey had a soul. Does he still have one now? Are like the meetings with Doug DeGroot talking about investments and what you're going to do? Is that what they're pumping Mikey with right now? Hey, Mikey, you're going to be the next Charlie. We're going to make so much money. Here's the video right here. We're showing you. Look at Mikey right there. The black behind. Look at him.
Let's watch this. Let's see this.
That was Mikey at the hospital, I was told.
We have got to the point.
Let's run this back. Let's run this back.
DeGroot talking about investments and what you're going to do. Is that what they're pumping Mikey with right now? Hey, Mikey, you're going to be the next Charlie. We're going to make so much money. Here's the video right here. We're showing you. Look at Mikey right there. Here we're showing you. Look at Mikey right there. The black behind.
Yeah, man. Much like the Erika Kirk video of her hanging over Charlie's body, supposedly Charlie's body in the casket, which is a very weird thing to film, unless there's something you're trying to convince us of. Now, many of you would say, well, that was her trying to convince us that she was sad and she was so depressed and she was traumatized. And then there's others that I would probably consider myself a part of that group to say that maybe she was trying to convince us of something else, and that is that Charlie Kirk was deceased and she was traumatized. Maybe she was trying to convince us of both of those things. Here's why I say that. Who filmed her doing that? We have reason to believe that it was the woman who was in place of Erika's mother that day. I forget her name. We have reason to believe that that may have been the person recording Erika over Charlie's casket. Okay. Who's filming this, though? And why would you be filming this? I want to hear, like, what would make the most sense. What makes the most sense as to why you would film them loading Charlie's casket, or supposedly Charlie's casket, into the hearse? And why is Mikey there if he's not? I have so many questions here.
Not an active participant calling the shots and making things happen. And I think that they pumped him with that rhetoric and those names and adjectives because they were reassuring him in some way. What now of Pastor Frank Turek? Man, I'd love to watch him proselytize right now. Sign me up. You're at a church, he's got the mic. What of him? Can you explain it, Frank? You've said a lot about me. In fact, I received an email last night that you guys knew I was going to be a problem from the beginning. Before I even knew that we were not on the same side, you guys knew we wouldn't be. That's stunning to me. Someone sent me a photo in Arlington that they had made a poster at Charlie's memorial site, one of the many around the country, and they had wrote on the poster, "Don't worry, your big sister Candace will figure out what happened." And the Turning Point staff removed the poster. Sent me the photos and everything. I don't have it for you today because we weren't planning on doing a show. And they saw them whispering and they removed the poster. Yeah. They knew from the beginning that I was not going to get in line with this. And good on them.
So I'm going to ask this question before we move on to the Tucker clips, because I don't want to just sound like a broken record. There's no need to do that. I don't want to make the video unnecessarily long. What could Mikey McCoy have known was going to happen or believe was going to happen that day? And the problem with this is, I think Candace is doing a great job. But here's the problem. When we open these doors, we have to really open these doors and actually entertain the alternatives. What are the list of things, Mikey, that are possible that Mikey McCoy believed was to happen that day that didn't involve Charlie having his life snatched from him? Did he think Charlie was going to get actually pow-powed, but he was going to get pow-powed in a way where he survives it and he gets the message to stick to the script going forward? Why would Mikey even be okay with that and agree to that? I would believe that that would traumatize him. So if we are to believe that Mikey McCoy is truly traumatized in this clip right here, right? Let me put this big screen. That's Mikey McCoy supposedly hunched over in the back. Isn't it very convenient that somebody decided to film this and Mikey McCoy is in the back? It's almost like that's propaganda. It's like they want us to see that he's sad. They want us to believe that he is traumatized, to almost make up for his horrible behavior that was caught on camera that day. Why are we not to believe that that's what's going on here? They saw is it possible that Turning Point USA saw the circulating footage that we've all seen of Mikey McCoy and they realized how bad it looked, which is to say he turned around in record time, that you don't have an explanation for it? You don't. So what we're going to do, much like what Candace said, is we're going to big up Mikey, and we're going to say that Mikey was this superhero, expeditious, extravagant, this super inhumane, otherworldly person that wasn't on camera, that wasn't caught on camera. And we're going to do that because what actually was saw on camera is beyond the pale. It's beyond suspicious. What about that? Right? So is it possible that because they saw that, let's film him again And my understanding is that this is only trending now. I may be understanding that incorrectly, but he may, this, I believe, is just now trending in the last few weeks. It doesn't matter if it's in the last week or if it's in the last 2 months, because the point is, this is 6-7 months later, regardless if it's the last 2 months or not, before this trend. Why are we just not seeing this video? And that's interesting that this video is trending after we've already seen Mikey McCoy doing something extremely suspicious on camera. So why are we not to believe? Why shouldn't we believe that this is propaganda, not by Candace? I can't speak to that, but propaganda by the person filming this, much like the Erika Kirk footage of her over Charlie Kirk's casket is propaganda. Why shouldn't we believe this is propaganda too? This is still footage coming from the TPUSA side as well. How do we know that Mikey isn't acting here? Because here's the thing. How is Mikey traumatized right now, but he wasn't traumatized when it first happened? Not only was he not traumatized, he didn't even need to see what happened. The only explanation is that he had foreknowledge. To you all's credit, foreknowledge that not that Charlie was going to get taken out, much like what Candace said here, but foreknowledge that something else was going to happen, which leads me back to my original question. What did he think was going to happen? The only thing I can think of is that Charlie was going to fake it. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. Charlie was going to fake it. All right. I love to hear other alternatives. That's the only thing that makes sense, which would implicate Charlie, because Charlie is going to fake something. How do we know he didn't? That's the second question. How do we know he didn't? And for those of you that, are huge Candace supporters, maybe they faked it and they're keeping Candace out of the, in the dark. Apparently she wasn't around as much. Still friends with Charlie. Maybe they decided not to tell her. Now, I know many of you all are suspicious of Candace. You think that she may be a part of the show, the circus. But like I've told you, have I considered that? Absolutely. As I encourage all of you to do. I know a lot of you all won't do it. But the reason why I have not come out and said that is because when you listen to Candace, it seems genuine, bro. I think she is truly dedicated to this. I do believe that. I do believe she's really trying to figure out what happened. Right? My discernment is pretty spot on, typically. And when I watch Candace, I'm like, nah, this is a person that's confused just like we are. This is a person in the dark just like we are. Right? So the innocent, non-biased or unbiased question, if you're being objective, is number one, did Mikey think that Charlie was going to fake it that day, which is the only thing that would make sense outside of him actually getting pow-powed? And number two, how do we know Charlie didn't? How do we know? The inside of the car, the red liquid, that helps. That helps, because that does look like real red liquid. It does. I've seen dried up red liquid many times in my life. That does look real to me. Right? So there's that. All right, let's get into the Mr. Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson, these clips have went semi-viral as of lately, because Tucker Carlson is now entertaining some things that's happened to Charlie. And let me pull them up here. As a reminder, while you all wait for me to pull these up, please hit the like button on your way in. I would really, really appreciate it if you haven't done it yet. It goes a long way. If we have 1,300 people in here, I would appreciate it if we had at least 1,200 likes. Please, 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 if we can get it to 1,200 likes. Let's, what am I doing? I'm almost there, guys. I hate to make you all wait. Let me just do it over here. This is easy. Paste. Okay, now we'll get the first clip pulled up. This is Mr. Tucker Carlson interviewing somebody. It says Tucker on Charlie Kirk's murder investigation.
Did see something that
if you all have not seen this clip, let me preface this clip by stating that typically when I watch a Tucker Carlson episode, a Tucker Carlson clip, I anticipate that the person that he is interviewing or talking with typically sides with him or holds certain perspectives, especially when we're talking about, geopolitical foreign affairs. I would assume that the person that he's speaking with, willing to speak to Tucker, probably agrees with Tucker, probably is on the same side as Tucker for the most part. As we know, all humans disagree to some variance on topics. However, I want you all to watch this, and I want you to watch how disingenuous these people are. I quickly understood. I was like, oh, this person he's weird. Listen to this.
You were on a podcast yesterday. You said you think Israel killed Charlie Kirk.
I did not say that.
What was?
I did not say that.
Okay, what was the clip then?
I said
I did see something that you were on a podcast yesterday. You said you think Israel killed Charlie Kirk.
I did not say that.
What was?
I did not say that.
Okay, what was the clip then?
I said I've never said that.
Okay.
I know a lot of people, including in the Trump administration, who think that. However, there's no proof of that.
Yeah.
What I said was two things. One, I don't know when the command came down and from whom that we have to trust everything federal law enforcement says, but I'm not obeying that. We have a moral obligation to push federal law enforcement to do the job we pay them to do, which is to investigate the crimes fully. And so, for example, if there are people who predicted Charlie's death on Twitter, I think the rest of us can expect that they've been hauled in by the FBI for questioning, and I don't think they have been.
So, I don't know about that, but okay. I do know what what you're talking about, the Discord chats.
No, I'm specifically talking.
He's way off. He literally just said Twitter or X, and you said Discord chats. No, bro. He's talking about the guy that I had on the show, Tommy, and another person who seemingly, or Harrison, who said that somebody gave him a heads up a month before that Charlie said that they were going to take him out. That's what he's talking about.
Doc,
I'm talking about the Twitter posts that seem to predict Charlie's death. Maybe that
I don't know if that's been investigated. I would love for that to be.
Yeah. So that's number one. Number two, just because someone is shot by one person doesn't mean others weren't involved. Right. And don't berate me into accepting that assumption, because I would never accept that. Why would I assume that? And three, to tell me that you know the motive before the trial even starts, that he was killed for his views on transgenderism, maybe he was. Maybe it was more complicated than that. How would you know? You don't know. So stop yelling at me to accept a conclusion that you can't prove.
I hear you.
Why would you do that? This is my friend. And by the way, if I was murdered, I would expect people who loved me not to jump to unwarranted conclusions, but to press federal law enforcement to do its freaking job.
Yeah.
And stop calling people names because they're asking you to do your job.
I think a lot of people did jump to unwarranted conclusions.
Maybe.
Though.
I don't know if they're warranted.
Let's see what the unwarranted conclusion or conclusions, so that's multiple, that this guy is talking about. Listen closely.
Or not.
And, right after the assassination, many people were with big platforms, not you, were saying that Israel was behind it.
Many people with big platforms were saying that he was killed for his views on transgenderism. And we don't know that, actually. We don't know anything.
But Charlie was killed as he was talking about transgender. And this guy, Tyler Robinson, seems to be in love with transgender people.
That may be absolutely true.
For me, and I think a lot of Americans, that seems like the most plausible situation.
But you're never going to catch me saying, because I don't know it, that Tyler Robinson wasn't involved. I'm merely saying to foreclose the possibility that others were involved is irresponsible, and then to attack other people.
Yeah, I'm certainly not here to attack you.
Oh my God! So I'm assuming that this guy right here that Tucker is talking to is a Zionist, but there's so many things wrong here. First of all, this guy is disregarding so much evidence. All these people that have done investigations, you all know the names, list the names out, including Candace Owens, who he clearly has seen her content. All the stuff that's been revealed, investigated, discovered, exposed. You're going to stand there and say the most logical explanation is because he was speaking about transgenderism and that's when he was shot. What? So Tyler Robinson took out Charlie But he specifically waited until Charlie spoke about trans and was like, that's my cue. I'm going to take you out now. How dare you speak about it? Even though I was already here to take you out. That was my cue to do it. Huh? Really? But there's some smoke I got for Tucker Carlson. Did you all just hear what Tucker Carlson just said? He said, well, maybe he was taken out because of trans, but we don't know that for a fact. Really, Tucker? Because number one, you've taken forever. Maybe you're being strategic. Maybe you're playing 4D chess as well. I don't know. But you've been very silent about it, and you spoke at AmFest, and clearly at Charlie's memorial, you literally compared Charlie being taken out for speaking the truth to Jesus Christ himself for taking out for speaking the truth. You compared them at Charlie's memorial. Furthermore, you took it a step further and alluded to the same people taking out Charlie who took out Jesus Christ himself. You know you said that. And we all listened to you at the memorial because for some reason they're still accepting you. Maybe, like I said before, and many others speculated before, maybe they're waiting. If they cut you off immediately, it'll be suspicious. So you were allowed to spew these things at the memorial. You said those things, dude. But furthermore, which makes me even more mad, is that he says, well, maybe Charlie was taken out for transgenderism. I don't know. But to berate people and to insult people and tell people to stop talking about it is disingenuous. Well, the conversation that this gentleman just referred to you, that you said just the day before, this is what you said, Tucker Carlson.
And threats.
Have there been? Yeah, well, of course there have been. Are you kidding? Yeah.
Aren't you used to that? Like you're outspoken on a lot of stuff, right? Like for many, many, many years. This can't be new to you.
Well, you're never going to hear me whine about threats ever to me because I got on this voluntarily. I know I got fired after 15 years, the highest rated show in American cable television. So, and I got fired for my opinion. So and I'm not whining at all. I'm so grateful that I got fired. I'm just saying it's not like I didn't know what the price is. I do know what the price is. Charlie Kirk was murdered.
Yeah.
And he was not murdered for his opinions on transgenderism, obviously. He was, I believe, and most people who knew him well as I did and was friends with him as I was, believe he was most likely murdered for his evolving views on Israel.
Let's run that back. I don't think anybody is confused, but for those of you that may have not caught that, let's run it back.
Murdered.
Yeah.
And he was not murdered for his opinions on transgenderism, obviously.
He was not unalived for his opinions on transgenderism, obviously. He said, obviously.
He was, I believe.
He was, I believe.
And most people who knew him well as I did and was friends with him as I was.
And most people who are friends with him as I was.
Believe he was most likely murdered for his evolving views on Israel.
There's no confusion. There's no confusion about what he just said. But just a day later, or I don't know when the podcast was recorded, but I'm assuming it's the following day because the guy said yesterday, I saw your clip. So just days later, to be on the safe side, this is what Tucker Carlson.
You're not doing it. I'm just saying.
Literally just said.
And three, to tell me that you know the motive before the trial even starts, that he was killed for his views on transgenderism. Maybe he was. Maybe it was more complicated than that. How would you know? You don't know. So stop yelling at me to accept a conclusion that you can't prove.
I hear you.
Why would you do that? This is my friend. I'm not, and by the way, if I was murdered, I would expect people who loved me not to jump to unwarranted conclusions, but to press federal law enforcement to do its freaking job.
Yeah.
And stop calling people names because they're asking you to do your job.
I think a lot of people did jump to unwarranted conclusions.
Maybe.
Though.
I don't know if they're warranted or not.
And, right after the assassination, many people were with big platforms, not you, were saying that Israel was behind it.
Many people with big platforms were saying that he was killed for his views on transgenderism. And we don't know that, actually.
But just the day before, you sounded way more convicted, right? Based on what you've seen, that being the evidence, the video footage, the stories, the whistleblowers, we have very good reason to believe that Charlie was under a lot of distress in his life. Whether he faked his death or not, he was under a lot of distress. You're saying now maybe he was taken out. Why are you flip-flopping, Tucker Carlson? It's already weird that you're like not really talking about it. You've like steered away from it. You've even said on Wax on your podcast before that you said something on the lines of that's something you try not to publicly speak about only because it's such a sensitive topic. Huh? It makes it so hard to trust these people because I'm not on here to say I hate Tucker. I don't hate Tucker. I'm just not an idiot. And I know how psyops work. And I know that they place these plants in position to confuse people. They say all the right things. Tucker has been saying all the right things. That's true. That's a fact. He talks about Christ. He talks about, take care of your family. He talks about these conservative values, right? All the things. But then he starts doing this, and it's weird. Like, can you pick a side? A side does not mean that you state definitively that you know what happened to Charlie, but you can't go on Can't Be Censored podcast and say, I believe he was speaking to some Canadians, and say unequivocally, know he was not taken out for his views on transgenderism. Obviously. He said, obviously. I believe, and many other people that were close to Charlie in his life and knew Charlie well, believed that he was taken out for his ever evolving views on that one foreign nation. What are we talking about? What are we talking about?
We don't know anything.
But Charlie was killed as he was talking about transgender. And this guy,
Maybe he was.
Tyler Robinson.
Maybe he was. He just flip-flopped.
Seems to be in love with transgender people.
That may be absolutely true.
For me, and I think a lot of Americans, that seems like the most plausible situation.
That is not, I refuse to believe that's what most Americans believe. No, it's not what most Americans believe. Stop with the gaslighting. Stop with the misinformation, dude. I don't even know who this dude is. I believe that this dude is a Zionist. He has to be. Nobody who is objective and fair and honest is watching this investigation. All these different YouTubers, all these different Twitter accounts. Shout out to Project Constitution and many others that's dropping Sam Parker, dropping mind-blowing information weekly. One at the very least to give you cause to pause. This guy says, nah. What's been told to us is most likely what happened to him. Nothing else to see here. What do you mean there's 797 pieces of evidence and red flags that you found collectively across the internet amongst all the content creators and investigators? What do you mean? And out of the 797 red flags that you found, 200 of them are questions that have yet to be answered. What do you mean that's by itself enough reasonable doubt for Tyler Robinson to be found not guilty? What do you mean? I don't care about that. I care about what they told me. Stop asking common sense questions. Stop noticing. Huh? Dude, this is crazy.
But you're never going to catch me saying, because I don't know it, that Tyler Robinson wasn't involved. I'm merely saying to foreclose the possibility that others were involved is irresponsible. And then to attack other people.
Yeah. I'm certainly not here to attack you.
No, you're not doing it. I'm just saying, like.
It says, Dee, please look at Candace full last episode. Listen to Candace say how she wants no harm to Erika Kirk, but wants her to live with suffering from everyone knowing the truth. Deep. I saw that. I heard Candace when she said that. I do believe that's deep. And I don't believe that she'll live with suffering, though. No, I do not believe that Erika Kirk will live with suffering because allegedly I believe that Erika Kirk is an actor. And I believe she's under the programming. All right. I've done a multitude of videos on Erika. I've done deep dives on Erika and was one of the first ones to link her to Jeffrey Epstein by way of that modeling agency she may or may not have worked for in New York. We know that she allegedly had a license, but we can't find any properties that she bought or sold. I do not believe that she'll live with grief and sorrow knowing that people know. Nope. As long as she's protected, she plays the role that she was set in place to play. I believe she is a monarch programmed individual, at the least. So no.
But and it's interesting, the people who have been, like, I've been a journalist my entire life. I'm not proud of that because journalism is pretty gross in the way that it's practiced in this country, as you've just proven. I mean, you tell us like how fake a lot of this stuff is.
You see, when he say things like that, Tucker just comes off as the most sweet, honorable, stand-up person. But then he flip-flops on something that was involving a person he called his friend. I'm confused here. I'm so confused. Right? And the Most High is not a God of confusion. Stand on what you're saying, bro. Be clear.
But the basic process of journalism is not so different from the process of gathering evidence in a criminal investigation, which is all leads should be run down that are not utterly preposterous. And if you're not doing that, then I have a right to ask, why are you not doing that? And if Joe Kent, who until the day he left had highest level security clearance in the Trump administration, if Joe Kent says, hey, I referred these leads to the DOJ and they ignored them and then got mad at me for referring them, what the hell is that? And if no one can answer you other than to call you an anti-Semite, I'm like, that's not a real answer.
Yeah, I don't think Joe is an anti-Semite.
I'm like,
yeah, I don't think you're an
I'm not
anti-Semite.
alleging Israel did it. I can't prove that.
But then I guess that is an example of a clip of yours that was being taken out of context.
Israel did it?
That was the message yesterday. And that's what I saw. And so
it's just interesting that I will say this. It's interesting that all the people who are telling you to shut up and accept a conclusion that hasn't even been reached in a court yet, they're all neocons. So why is that? What is that? Who's running that campaign? Talk about a campaign. And I, as his friend, here's what I want. And I've said it to the folks at Turning Point, who I talk to, who I like in some cases. No, everybody who loved Charlie has an obligation to push for the most rigorous, open-minded, exhaustive criminal investigation possible. And if you're not doing that, why are you not doing that?
That's a very fair question. All right, Tucker, I'm with you. All right, that makes sense. But you flip-flopping on your answer is what's confusing people, bro. Why are you being the author of confusion here? That makes perfect sense. I'm with you on that. Totally, very well said.
That's fair.
And I had this conversation and I called people at the FBI directly, not being paid to do this. I did because I love Charlie Kirk. And it's like, what is this? And they didn't give me a good answer.
Did you see that recently at the court hearing that they're not making Tyler Robinson's lover testify? They're basically giving them spousal privilege.
Yeah, what is that?
That's a great question. And I think Turning Point.
And who's this guy who jumped up and claimed credit for the murder seconds after it happened? Who's that guy who all of a sudden gets busted on kiddie porn charges and we can't talk to him?
All right. Weird.
Well,
like, I don't know what this adds up to, but I know weirdness when I see it. And by the way, is there not footage of Tyler Robinson pulling the trigger? Apparently they say that there is. No one has seen it, who I know, including high-level people who have asked to see it, haven't seen it. Why? I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm saying, why are you acting like this?
Sure. Right. But I think it's, I trust you that you weren't saying it was Israel, but some people have definitively said that. And I think that's also reckless.
He will not stop with this. Like this point here, he keeps coming back to, which makes me, who is this guy? Right? Who is this guy? He won't leave that point alone. But Tucker, I know you're talking about the case and you're talking about red flags and things and people that's not been allowed to testify. But let's go back to this point about what people were saying. Man, let's just make sure that we clear that up. This one foreign nation didn't do it, or we don't know that they did it, and we shouldn't be saying it. Huh? Based on the evidence, people can reach whatever conclusion they want. I think he's solely speaking about Candace.
And so
I've said it's Israel.
No, I haven't. I'm not. I trust you that you said. I trust what you're saying right now.
Right. I don't.
But
if I had proof there was Israel, I would just say so.
Right. People have speculated that though, and have definitively said that. Not you, others. I think that's reckless. and irresponsible and does a disservice to.
But Tucker didn't say it, and you're on Tucker Carlson's podcast. So why are you giving him the speech about it if he's not the one that said it, dude? Talk to those people then. What are you trying to get here? This is a tactic as well. Let me come on your podcast and vent about other people that you are friends with that have comparable size podcasts as yours and have just as much reach as you have. Let me come on here and get the exposure and the reach to complain about them so that this message gets out to protect this one foreign nation, because that's my number one concern here. Like, are you American or not? Or are you another one of those dual citizen individuals?
To the investigation. I agree that we should 100%.
I mean, the investigations, the way that it's unfolded has allowed the space for all of the speculation to take place.
Sure.
And that is
also the new media environment, the new social media ecosystem.
But it's just funny. Everyone's mad at the podcasters for it. It's the podcasters. You've got a freaking Department of Justice that we pay for billions a year that has the right to shoot you. They have unlimited police powers. They can tell you any lie they want, and it's fine. If you lie to them, it's a federal crime. They have all the power.
Yeah.
Therefore, they need all the accountability. That's just like kind of how it works. And
this guy hadn't spent a single second complaining about them. Let that sink in.
No one seems to be mad at the FBI
right,
or the Utah state authorities for not answering simple questions about this stuff. And if you can't answer a simple question, maybe there's a good reason. What's that reason? Shut up, anti-Semite. I'm just not going to take that under any circumstances ever.
Well, right now, what it seems like, though, at least in the right-wing media ecosystem, I agree that we should have a thorough investigation.
Yeah.
Half the side, or actually probably more than half the side says,
if this dude is about to go back to that same point that he just made, he's exposed. I mean, it's more obvious than ever. If he goes back to the same point that he just made for the 5th time.
Tyler Robinson did it. And then there's a pocket of the internet that personally 100% says Israel did it. And I think that,
why don't we have the tiebreaker with the DOJ giving us real information on this and answering the question? And I actually called as I told you, I'm going to say it again, I called the FBI highest level. Have you guys interviewed the people who appeared to have foreknowledge? We've got that covered. Have you interviewed them or not? Like this is just a common sense question. Couldn't get an answer. Yeah, Maybe they have.
I saw some TikTok posts the day before Charlie died that basically said, "Oh, Charlie's going to regret coming here," and Discord.
Thank you.
We're certainly aware of those posts, and
so that should be, but aware of. Yeah, everyone's aware of it. It was on TikTok.
Who is he a part of? Does anybody know who this is? I looked in the description of Tucker's video here, and it doesn't show who this guy is. He said, "We are aware of this." Is he with the DOJ? Is he FBI? Is he CIA? Is he a part of the Trump administration? Who is this guy?
And Twitter, but have the people who posted those things been interviewed? If I go on TikTok and threaten the life of a federal official, I get.
That's a very good point. Where's that comment at? Do y'all remember this? This allegedly was detected within the area. The UVU campus area, the vicinity of where everything happened with Charlie. Nobody find that weird, to say the least? I don't have to say it out loud. You see it on the screen. That's weird. But no, stop speculating that it could be a foreign nation that did it. Okay.
An immediate visit from the FBI. Immediate. And I get it. I'm not against that. Have these guys received visits from the FBI? And last time I checked, the answer was no. So I think it's totally fair as a friend of Charlie's, or just as an American who believes that justice has to be done, to demand an answer. And I'm not going to be deterred from having people scream Candace Owens anti-Semite in my face. I'm just not ever going to be bullied by that under any circumstances, because why would I? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, but he's literally trying to do that right now. That's exactly what this guy in front of you is trying to do, Tucker. That's why he's here. He won't say her name because he know what that'll trigger. So instead of getting to try to lessen the attacks that he'll face, he won't say Candace's name. Instead, he'll just say other large podcasters. Or first he'll say alluding to, and then he'll say definitively. So he'll say speculating, and then he'll say that they're definitively saying it.
I hear you. I just think that jumping to your point, jumping to conclusions could be reckless. And
no, it can't. How can it be reckless to jump to conclusions as a public investigator podcaster? You're just saying things, bro. And this is the propaganda I'm talking about. They come on these big platforms and they try to convince people why you shouldn't use your common sense.
Well, a lot of people are jumping to conclusions that Charlie Kirk was killed because of his positions on transgenderism.
Thank you.
That's jumping to a conclusion. We don't know that.
And he's one of those people. He's literally jumping to conclusions himself. Hypocrite.
Been no trial.
But there was the letter that was picked up, right?
Okay, but what do we know about that letter? Nothing. That was a press release.
There's more evidence leaning towards the transgender issue.
Show me all the evidence.
No, there's not. No, there is not. It's more evidence as of today that Charlie's microphone may have exploded than there is any other narrative. No, there's not. He's lying. Tucker cannot be this ignorant of the investigation. I refuse to believe that, especially being so-called friends with I refuse to believe that, bro. There's no way he hadn't heard or seen all these revelations that's come out about Turning Point. They have multiple motives, bro. Brian, the auditor, proved that himself. This is crazy.
So, and that's why we're having a court hearing.
That's what exactly.
Yeah.
So, but
hopefully,
I'm just saying,
hopefully, some of these
all sides are jumping to
answered.
conclusions.
Yeah.
Anyone who says "shut up," he was killed by the trannies.
I think what makes the whole process worse, though, is social media.
Oh, definitely.
You jump for, and then
that's why I haven't. I've tried to stay out of this.
And you have your teams.
I think it can make it worse. What he means by worse is worse for us. People that are trying to defend the narrative, it makes it worse for us. What social media does that they don't like is it allow people to do collective journalism, right? Something called collective investigative journalism. That's what it allows us to do. We can rely on one another. We can ask one another, like myself. I come on here and I ask you all questions. What do you all think about these images? What does it look like to you? And some of you all have greater minds than I have. Some of you all have different experiences and expertises than I have. Some of you all have better eyes than I do, right? We come together and we work together. You have resources that I don't have. I have resources that some of you all do not have. We come together and we figure this out together. They don't like that. The internet is the worst thing to happen to these type of people. Because when you come to the internet and people have the same agenda or motives and passion as you do, and you make a conscious or concerted effort and decision to work together, these people can't stand that. That's what that means. Translation.
Any of the clashing opinions.
But how did it wind up? How did Charlie Kirk's murder wind up a contest between people with different views on foreign policy? I think that's the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Good question.
That's funny. I was about to say that myself, Tanya. The internet is the worst thing to happen to Islam as well. Shout out to God Logic, Avery. He does an incredible job over there. That's crazy. I was just about to say that.
It's a good question. I think a lot of people are nefariously using Charlie's passing for self-gain. And I think that's wrong.
But also for ideological.
I agree.
Ends and foreign imperatives. Like, that's really clear to me. Like, how did this become about that? If it's really just about transgenderism, then why is every person insisting it's only about transgenderism also attacking the MOU? Like, what are we looking at now, Alex Brusewitz? Like,
notice that every single time Tucker asked this guy a question that requires him to be objective, he has no answer. He'll respond either with nothing or he'll respond with, right, I hear you. And then he'll revert back to his talking points. But the moment Tucker Carlson concedes to his points, or Tucker Carlson makes a point about how we don't know if it's about transgenderism, we don't know if it's about foreign, he then has something to say. Isn't that amazing?
I don't know. Look, I'm a medium IQ person, maybe even a low IQ person, but I'm just like noting what's happening and asking, what does it add up to? And I don't know.
Good question.
But it's weird.
I hear you. I hear you.
You should be a shrink, man. You have such a like.
Told you. I hear you. I hear you. That's all I have to say. If you're asking me to be objective, man, I can't do that here. But I hear you, man.
A calming. I hear you.
So I think that the whole thing was terrible. I remember where I was when he got shot. I was actually in a meeting in Washington.
Who cares, bro? Who cares? I don't care. I don't care where you were. I care that you're pushing propaganda and misinformation, and you're not showing objectivity. I don't like people that don't show objectivity. So crazy. All right. Let's get to some of these comments. Somebody says the fake Blake Bednars. That's funny. Thank you for the $2 though. The evidence was planted by Candace. It's a psyop. I don't have the evidence for that. If you have the evidence for that, send it in. Shout out to Gina. As always, Gina, thank you for the $10. Hi, Didi. Did you see the picture Barron released on X of Charlie Kirk's chest? Shows a square burn on his chest where Road Mike was. As of 20 minutes ago, I had not seen it, but I got your email, Gina, and you knew what email to send it to, what email address to send it to, that is the one that I use now. And I read it, and I saw it. So yes, I did see it. I saw the one that's on Facebook that you sent me. That's interesting. As a matter of fact, while you're here, I'll take a glance at it again. Okay, hold on. Okay, that's weird. Why is it not coming up now? All right, let's try this. So you all won't be able to see this from, I gotta pull it back so that I don't get the video flagged. But how did he get this image? That's wild. How did he get this image though? What the world? No, I hadn't seen that up until when you sent it to me, and I read it about 10-15 minutes ago. And you said it shows a square burn. I don't know if I can definitively call that a square burn, but I don't even know if it has to be a perfectly square burn. It shows something here. How did they get this image? That's crazy. Whoa, man. Whoa, man. That's extremely disturbing, y'all. I don't know. I hadn't seen it, but I've seen it now. I'll look more into that in my own time. Thank you, Gina, for another $10. I just emailed you the picture. It's not appropriate for YouTube, though. I believe Mikey knew and was worried or threatened he'd be taken out, too. Yeah, I believe that's likely. But again, I just need these questions answered. What did Mikey think was going to happen before? Because clearly Mikey was not shocked by what happened when everything happened. What did they tell him beforehand was going to take place? That's what I want to know. Any ideas? Any theories? Anybody? This says here, Mikey probably thought fake attempt was going to happen. Exactly. Which means Charlie would have been in on it. Which is illegal, by the way. You can't fake your own death. I think most of you all should know that that's illegal. Miss Jilly, thank you for the $5 super chat. I don't think bodies come out of a hospital in a casket. Correct me if I'm wrong. You are correct. Were they saying this was coming out of the hospital? Hold up, let me go back. I don't know if I caught that part. Did they say it came out of the hospital?
And I think that they pumped him with that. That was Mikey at the hospital, I was told.
Huh. Huh. Hospital? A hospital coming out of a casket coming out of a hospital? Somebody says that Barron had this image for a very long time. He explained the image months ago. Okay, well, thank you for, if that's true, thank you for telling me. I didn't know. So I appreciate that. Shout out to him. I don't know how he got that, but how did he get that image? But how is a casket coming out of a hospital? Since when does that ever happen? And because I think you go to the morgue, the casket would be coming out of the morgue, right? And I don't know why so many of them would be there at the morgue to bring the casket out. I have questions. But let's do this in real time. Let me move this image down so that there's no confusion. And we're going to go to Google and we're going to ask Google together. All right. We're going to go back up here together and let's see if we can figure this out. All right. So boom. Where you at? There you are. All right. How, in what circumstance would it make sense for a casket to be wheeled out of a hospital into a hearse? I thought caskets are in morgues. When you see a casket or coffin being wheeled out of a hospital into a hearse, it is almost exclusively for a religious, cultural, or logistical transfer rather than a standard departure from the morgue. Hospitals temporarily hold bodies in their morgues, but they are typically transferred to funeral homes discreetly on a standard stretcher or cot inside a discreet, unmarked vehicle. However, seeing a fully dressed casket indicates one of these scenarios: religious or cultural rites. We don't have reason to believe that. Immediate departure for burial. Huh. So is it possible that they immediately buried him? But was his body at the memorial? Maybe not institutional chaplains or dignitaries, which I was familiar with this. But, in faiths requiring swift burial, such as Judaism or Islam, the body might be taken straight to the funeral home to be casketed and immediately driven to the cemetery. I don't know, guys. Out of these three, if I were to believe one, it would have to be immediate departure for burial. Right? Is that what would make the most sense to you as well? That's what would make the most sense to me. That's weird. I don't know. Yeah, Miss Jilly. I don't think bodies come out of the hospital in a casket often either. I didn't even catch that. Thank you. Gina, thank you for the $10. I've mentioned before, I think Charlie Kirk was going to fake it, but they had the plan to take him out for real. It would explain Mikey's reaction. I agree. I remember you saying this, and I thought that was a very interesting theory. I remember when, man, he hasn't been on in so long. I forgot my guy's name. It's the gentleman that came on with me early on in the investigation. And I said that's the only other thing that would make sense. And he agreed. Huh. Didi, thank you for the $2 super chat. Didi, he said he can't tell us yet. Love to all. Oh, that's Baron. Okay, got you. Appreciate y'all for filling me in, bro, with things I've not heard from other creators. That helps a lot so that things cannot be misconstrued or taken the wrong way. Jenna, thank you for the $10. I forgot the photographer's full name, McClintock. I think he was at the event and took it as they were carrying him to SUV. He was at event and took the photo as they were carrying him to SUV. Oh, you talking about of Charlie's chest? It's cut from full photo of Charlie Kirk. Oh, thanks for everything. So is that upper chest area? And if so, I don't think the shirt ever rose high enough for them to get the chest area where the roll mic was, or maybe it did at some point, and maybe I missed it because I thought I would have been all over that. That's interesting though. Yeah, I don't know. Somebody said the roll mic is held on by a magnet on the outside. I believe there was a Curad pad on Charlie Kirk's chest to prevent chafing and absorb the blast. Would Charlie not find that suspicious though? You see what I'm saying? If they put pads on you and all of that, if I'm Charlie, I'm like, why do we need all of that? Or am I missing something? There's absolutely no proof outside of the sloppers that Charlie Kirk ever made it to the hospital. That's something else I thought about too. I'm like, how do we know he got to a hospital? And I think part of the reason why so many people believe it is because Candace has said that there's an inside source that's told her that they did go to the hospital. She did request for the footage. The footage cannot be obtained because the feds took the footage from the hospital. Why would you take the footage from the hospital? Just like why would you pave over the crime scene? Yeah, like and then you got this, but yet you got this guy sitting here with Tucker saying we know what happened, and it's that Tyler Robinson. That's what most likely happened. We don't have much other reason to believe other things, dude. Excuse me. Charlie was religious. This could be the reason. Well, the thing is, the examples that were given were examples such as Judaism and Islam, not Christian, not quote unquote Christianity, not Catholicism, not to my knowledge. Somebody said you would tell your sources. I don't know what you mean by that. If you're saying I would expose who my sources are, I would not. Big problem. Body is not placed in casket until cleaned, embalmed, dressed to keep it clean and uncontaminated for the viewing. What day was this video taken of Mikey McCoy, Tyler Boyer, and the crew loading Charlie onto the casket? Because my understanding was this was all the same day. Why would Charlie already be in a casket? Was this the same day, or am I misunderstanding? Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to run off of a misunderstanding. Is this video expected to believe? I think it is. I think this is from the same day. Let's see. Oh, of course, because nothing can ever be easy. Where you at? Let's see here.
Things of what took place in that car, most emotionally impacted. He did not have it together, and a clip went around showing Mikey. I don't know if you guys can pull it, of him when they were carrying Charlie's casket out of the hospital, and you catch in the background Mikey looks like he's physically sick.
Out of the hospital? Why would Charlie already be in a casket coming out of the hospital? What?
This clip, I don't know when it came out. It recently went viral, but I've been telling you the whole time. That Mikey that was in the background, that was physically sick, is what I was told from the very beginning. Mikey was impacted by this in a way that leads me to believe that Mikey did not know that Charlie was going to die on that day.
So did he believe Charlie would actually get shot, but it would be like a flesh wound or what? Dude, so many questions.
Do I think Mikey knew?
So yeah, that gives me reason to believe that this is the same day she said the hospital. That's the same day. And it would make sense because of what they're alleging about how distraught Mikey was. I don't know, y'all. I just work here. That's crazy. Thank you for the $20 super chat, Timothy Jones. How in the HELL all these people involved who are not LEQs or authorized personnel of any kind just walking around with phones, photos, clothing, jewelry, video, all this stuff that's considered evidence, right? And none of it was requested. Like his phone, there's so many things that should have been Charlie's clothes, microphone, including the transmitter, right? And as you all know, I've done street interviews, or maybe you don't know, I've done street interviews for years as well. And I've used Rode mics. And yes, it is absolutely true that the audio, which is part of the reason why you'll see like some of these streamers, they'll have multiple mics and transmitters because if something goes wrong, they have backup audio. Where's the Rode mic? Where's Charlie's clothes, right? The necklace he was wearing, all these things. It's like, but you'll take the tent and set it outside of MFest. Baffles me. Baffles my mind, Timothy. Baffles me. That's another great question. That's another great question. How did the casket get there so fast? That's another great question. How did the casket get there so fast? You already have a casket for Charlie. You're already filming yourself over Charlie Kirk's casket crying. A casket with his body in it before his body is cleaned, embalmed, prepared for the family. His body is still warm, but it's in a casket. Coming out of the hospital. And that doesn't even look like a hospital. But I guess that can be nitpicking because the inside hospitals can get tricky and they all differ in different ways. I get it. Fair, fine, whatever. Somebody said I didn't care for Charlie. Charlie wasn't my favorite either, but like I've said before, like with the Kobe Bryant series for my Patreon members, that Kobe Bryant series, I dropped part 1 yesterday. For those of you that didn't catch the beginning of this video, I have a Kobe Bryant series that probably will be at least 8 or 9 parts. Each video will probably vary somewhere in between 30 minutes to an hour or more. It's that much extensive information on Kobe Bryant, his ties to George Floyd, obviously his family, his upbringing, the NBA, his career, life and death, LeBron James. It gets deep, right? From Freemasonry and the occult and dark magic, and Kobe was open with it, right? I believe Kobe Bryant was a high-level Luciferian, and I believe the evidence or the reason to believe it is overwhelming, right? I think this is no different. I think Kobe Bryant's death meant something. I think there's a reason it happened when it happened, and I believe the same thing about Charlie Kirk. All right, link is in the description to the Patreon if you're interested in that series. But do not take light or misunderstand the reason why I covered this over the past 10 months. It's not because I thought Charlie was the greatest person. I think there was a lot of redeeming qualities about Charlie, but there were several things about him that I did not like, that I was skeptical about. And yeah, but this is wrong is wrong, and psyops are psyops. I don't have to like the person to cover the case, or I don't have to love the person. I don't dislike Charlie. Neek, thank you for the $5. Misunderstood. She's saying that's the same behavior from the hospital, but it's weird. I thought he never went inside the hospital. Okay, well, maybe I misheard her. Let's go back.
It was going to happen with the speech. Mikey, that was in the background, that was physically sick, is what I was told. Physically sick. This clip, I don't know when it came out. You guys can pull it. Of him when they were carrying Charlie's casket out of the hospital.
Nope, didn't misunderstand anything. This person says misunderstood. She's saying that's the same behavior from the hospital. Nope. She is saying that is Mikey literally at the hospital. And she also said they're carrying the casket out of the hospital. So she's stating that he was there. You know what I mean? I'm not attacking you. I'm just saying, like, it's very clear, or maybe I misunderstood what you said here. Just another psyop inside this psyop. Right. Thank you for the $5. Neek and Gina. Yeah, man. I think we fully understand. But anyways, those are some of my thoughts. Y'all in the comment section and let me know what you think about these photos, about these images. I am curious. What's the other alternative? I still have yet to hear anybody give me a good response other than he thought Charlie was going to fake it. So when he heard the pop, it was like cue, just like they rehearsed, allegedly, and he walked off on cue. Sped off, everybody's in mayhem. He thought he understood what to do, allegedly. If Charlie was not supposed to fake it, what's the other alternative that he thought was going to take place that day? Truth Seeker, thank you for the $5. Could it be Charlie Kirk wanted out? Erika Kirk to take over, stage assassinate. Charlie Kirk double cross City. Could it be? Sure, it could be. Absolutely, it could be. Most people will not entertain that, but it could be. But to be fair, like with these images of Charlie and things that are coming out in the inside of the SUV, people have good reason to believe that he was actually taken out. I want to make sure that I state that. They have good reason to believe it, right? I'm not here to argue that he wasn't. It's just, still a lot of questions, bro, you know? But y'all in the comment section, give me your thoughts. Let me know what you all think. Please remember to hit the like button. It goes a long way. Merch, link to the merch store is in the description. We have some new designs that I plan to send over to the team here in the next week or so. We will have a flash sale coming up in the next, I'm pretty sure we'll have a flash sale coming up in the next, I believe it's going to be for the 4th of July weekend. All right. So be on the lookout for that. Things typically run as high as 30%, sometimes 50% off. That includes shirts, hoodies, shorts, mugs, kitchenware, pillows, and the list goes on. With that, man, I'm Demetrius. I'll go by Didi. I'm going to catch you all in the next one. Peace.
Oh, yeah, Didi got a pie.
Attitudes and our work ethic become very important in realizing our goals and opening up possibilities. I had lunch a couple of weeks ago with a recent graduate at UCA. And his story is really fascinating. It's one of overcoming homelessness during his time pursuing his degree, first at a community college here in Arkansas, and then finishing his bachelor's degree here at UCA. His narrative ranges from estrangement from family for many years to a hopeful reunion with mother and siblings. His record is one of overcoming odds in a way that I probably could not, and certainly demonstrating levels of tenacity and patience and optimism that I can only marvel at. He wanted to talk with me about his new job and his career path going forward. I really need to be there to learn from him because that's where the real value was.
Everything I say in this video is alleged. Allegedly. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. Y'all can just repeat after me. I really appreciate it. All right. No such thing. Come on, we can do better than that. Talk to it. Talk to it. Now let's start it over. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. You're worse than the rich white people who are, or the rich white Jews that own these record labels, because they don't even understand these populations. You have a lot closer relationship to these people, and you're leading them to hellfire. You are leading them in the wrong direction in the name of getting rich and famous. How dare you?
Oh yeah, Didi got a podcast.